All right. We should be live. What's up? This your man Orville J. Parker, aka Coach. Guys, welcome to this episode of Trade Hippo TV. I'm the founder of an e-commerce store called Trade Hippo LLC. This is a brand and a business that I've been running in my spare time as a side hustle for the last 7.5 years. And what I'm gonna do today, guys, is we just gonna discuss some things that I'm thinking. I'm gonna think out loud with you guys. Um, First of all, I got up this morning. I knocked off some listings. I got a few things listed on the site. That's something that I'm trying to. This is where I'm at with everything. This is what I got to do with this store. All right, since I want to give this store a fair shot, right? If I want to hold on one second, guys. All right, since I want to give this store a fair chance at being successful, I'm trying to look at it in a whole lot of different ways. And this is the first way I'm looking at it, guys. Before I can even think about scaling, doing things on a bigger level, I'm gonna have to get in and tighten my processes up. Over the years, I've created systems and processes to do several things that are needed or required in order for me to run a successful store. And I need to get in and get all that cleaned up and get all that established again. Um, and I need to create SOPs for it all. I have them in different places, but one of the things that I know I need to do is I need to take and I need to build a very good small store. I need to build a very good small store. Here's my thinking: before you try to scale anything, you need to make sure that you got your processes in place, all your systems in place. The key to business is being system dependent. All right. And if you want to be able to replicate success, you have to have a system. And so I've created systems and learned systems over the years on how to do certain things with my business. For example, sourcing. Where do I go find the items that I sell? I have systems for that. All right. Then bringing things back to the house, cleaning and grading. I have systems for that. Prepping and taking pictures. I have systems for that. Putting the items in inventory. I have a system for that. How I create my listings on my store, I have a system for that because everything has to be a certain way in order to allow you to have a chance at selling your items on a hyper competitive marketplace such as eBay, right? So I got systems for that. I have a system for how I pick orders, pull orders, package them, send them out. And I need to get all that cleaned up, right? Everything cleaned up. And what I'm thinking is taking and creating a section in my Notion, and then taking each one of these processes and systems and just typing it all out. So that way, by the nutshell, bam, 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 you know what you need to do. But the other thing is that everything needs to be optimized. So down in the warehouse, I got to get all this stuff listed. Herb can get it listed over the next couple of weeks. Then clean the warehouse up, and then I have to get that warehouse more organized and more optimized. Like right now, I have three different types of inventory systems down there: boxes, bins, and then the smaller boxes. So my whole goal is to get everything listed that I have down there, and I call this my death pile. So all the stuff I haven't listed yet, get that stuff listed. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the boxes and the bins and try to see what makes more sense on moving that stuff over. Cause see, this is where I'm at with it. So like my first 15 boxes or yeah, boxes of inventory was done originally. Then from 15 to like I think it's like from 1 to 19. And then from like 20 to like 42. So 1 and 19 were the big cardboard boxes. 20 to 42 were the bins. Then from 42 up to 70 is the other boxes. Now, once I get all the systems and processes typed out, get all that figured out, which I should have in the next couple of days, while I'm doing that, I'm taking pictures every day and adding new items to the store. All right. Then once I get all that inventory that I don't have listed and get that, then I'm gonna get everything cleaned up down there. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those first boxes, that 1 through 19, and all I have to do is say, like, if it's box 1, then I just have to take that first box, go in, transfer that inventory from that to the longer boxes. But while I'm doing it, I need to go through and check each item to make sure that they're still listed on the store. eBay has a tendency, if your item hasn't sold in a specified amount of time, sometimes they'll go in there, man, and they'll remove the listing, and you don't even know it. You think your item is on your store, but they've removed it. So one of the things I need to do when I go in there and start working on getting that warehouse cleaned up, I need to, as I'm transferring that inventory over from those old boxes and bins to the new ones, I need to go through there and then make sure that everything is listed. Get that done. Then once I get that done, then I can move on to taking the space and getting the space more optimized. Like where I take my photos at, I have a board that goes all the way up, all the way down to the floor, from the ceiling to the floor. I'm gonna chop that in half. I'm gonna build a leg situation up under there. So that way when I'm standing close to it, my feet can go up under there and I don't have to lean forward like I'm doing to put stuff on. So I'm gonna be redesigning that. But then I want a 5S, that whole area down there when I get done. So I want everything to have a place, and everything will be in a place that allows me to be as optimized as I need to be. See, like my mentor, the way he had his set up was like his people that would list. When he would list and his people would list, everything that they're needed would be right there, right? So they would never have to move off that mat. They can grab, they can fold, everything was hanging, bam, bam, bam. Then they turn over here, wham, 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 and it's an inventory. That saved them so much time because one thing I learned a while back from my mentor was when you start optimizing your space and your workflow, if you could save 30 minutes a day on what you're doing over the course of the months, all right, you're probably looking at what, about 10 hours. Now, what if you took those 10 hours and used those for something very, very productive or something that really moved the needle? Now, what if you could what if you could take let's say, for instance, my process of working in my warehouse is 5 hours a day. And in those 5 hours, I could put systems in place that save me an hour. All right, that save me an hour. So I can literally get done in 4 hours. All right. Then I could take that extra hour, which would be the equivalent of 30 hours a month, and I could directly apply that to my business. Now, in my case, that could be adding more listings. By adding, let's say I list 5 to 7 an hour. All right, just by adding that other hour and capturing that other hour, that can literally give me a huge raise in my income because now instead of, let's say for instance, if I'm listing 20 a day, now I'm listing 25 a day. All right. So that's an increase of 150 items per month. And that's a direct that would go directly to my bottom line, to my profit, right? Because I was already spending those 5 hours, but an hour that was bloated because I had inefficient systems, process on how I was doing. But if I get in there and I get everything 5S, but then I look at everything and I try to figure out how to cut steps out, unneeded steps out, and I could save an hour at that time. Now I could add another hour worth of production to that. Very, very powerful. So that's the kind of things I'm gonna be doing. Um, Outside of that, I'm just looking at ways on how I want to grow and scale once I got it done. But I will not allow myself to even think on that level until I get everything listed and I get that warehouse tightened up and organized. Which I'm putting a demand on myself. I'm saying in the next 2 weeks, I want to have that done. Tomorrow, by tomorrow's blog, guys, I'll have a date. I'm gonna set a date. But in 2 weeks, I, I want to have everything listed that I have that's not listed, and then I want to have that warehouse cleaned up, and then things put in place, right? And then we're gonna start this whole shift that we'll start moving that inventory over to the new system, right? I want to get all that done. And so my whole goal is to think on a day by day basis, what do I need to do today to hit my goal for today, my numbers, my listing goals, my sales goals. But then what do I need to do today to move this whole business forward, to tighten this business up, to clean it up, to make my store the best store that I can make it at this size. Because there's a lot I need to do, man. I mean, even like I was looking at my inventory online. I have about 1,000 items. And I would say right now, I need to sell about 700 of those items to get them off the store. They were either bad buys at the time, or they were listings that I put up when I didn't know what I was doing. And so the listings are not optimized. See, on eBay, the whole thing is about creating a good listing. You have to have your title the correct way in order to come up in the search engines and for it to make sense to your potential customers when they're searching for something. Your picture's got to be good. You got to have measurements. Your description has to be good. Your keywords have to be good. Your price has to be at a certain point to be competitive. Your return policy and all that stuff has to be right. Your shipping has to be on point. Depending on where you're at with your price and your shipping, that could make or break a sale. Are you promoting your items? Are you running promotions, ads to promote the items? What is your return policy? How fast do you ship out? And then eBay's algorithm, what they look at is they look at all that, and then you get what they call a quality score, right? The more pictures you have, the better your score is. Things like that. Um, but then how fast you ship. So when you get an order in, how fast do you get it shipped out? All that feeds into the eBay algorithm. How accurate are you with your listings? When a person orders something from you, and they get it, are they happy? Do they go give you a review, or do they say that it wasn't the right item, the right color was misrepresented? So you have to do all that. And once you learn that whole system, guys, then it becomes like a machine, right? And that's the beauty of where I'm at. And I'm okay where I'm at, because over the years, I've been doing this for 7 years. So I've sold over 2,000 items on my store. And so I know what I'm doing on that level. It's just that in the past, man, I've been doing this just like a hobby. I just jump down, do it as a side hustle. And right now, I want to focus on tightening my store up, getting everything tight and clean, and all my processes clean. And then from there, we could decide on how we're going to scale. Because the way I scale, see, this is the whole thing with this kind of business. See, since I'm not going in and buying wholesale and buying quantity of items, of new items, I have to go out and I have to source. I have to find, then I have to sift through, and then I have to hand pick the items I want to go in my store. Then I have to bring them home, clean them, do all that stuff. So it's very intense, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's very intense, right? You have to trade time for dollars, and every item that you get, you have to manually process it. And that's where I have the problem with this business model. And that's why I got some ideas on how we're going to scale and do things different. But so you have to trade time for dollars. Everything has to be manually done. And then you have to do it every day in the eBay algorithm. They eBay rewards you with traffic based on you being consistent with working on your store every day, which is good because it forces you to be disciplined, right? But when it comes to scaling, me, I'm all about building out businesses now, and that's going to give me cash flow, but things I can scale, then later on, things I can automate or put systems and people in place to be able to remove myself from the process. And with this whole game that we're in right now, I've already researched and figured out what I need to do in order to scale, such as hiring virtual assistants, hiring real assistants to come in on location to help me with the photos, the listings, and things like that. So that way I could scale. Another thing I'm looking to do is to get off into buying more new stuff, things that are already manufactured by somebody else and just reselling those. But then also creating our own shirts and things like that. So I got some ideas that I got planned. But before I do any of that, I have to get in and I have to clean up my processes, my systems, get the warehouse organized, and then be able to look at things from that level. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off this. I'm gonna go ahead and get off this video. I'm get ready to go pick up my first route for Amazon. Yeah, and if you guys don't know about that, I'm gonna show you how I got my business structure. And if you follow these videos, then you're gonna be able to see a lot of things. All right, so I have an e-commerce business, which is Trade Hippo LLC. And basically, Trade Hippo LLC was set up to be able to buy and sell different products via e-commerce. But then it's also set up to be a service provider for e-commerce brands. And so what I did was a year ago when I came home from the job, I created a logistics company, a small logistics company. I didn't have to go over and read and create a unique name or anything like that because I'm just using Trade Hippo LLC. And then what I did was I went out and I got a working relationship with Amazon and Walmart on last mile deliveries. So my e-commerce business provides services to Walmart and Amazon, mostly Amazon. And all this is done through Trade Hippo LLC. And so since I wasn't going to have to do any advertisement or anything like that, I didn't worry about creating a new name or entity for this portion of my business. I just went in like this. And so that's what I've been doing for the last year. And that's where I get a lot of my revenue from for my LLC. All right. And then with the store, I've been working at very part time. And now I'm getting ready to get that going. But now also on that LLC, I have another per se division in there, which is my digital division. And with that one, over the last 10 years, I created a couple of digital products that I was selling online through direct mail and online. And then I also purchased resale rights for different digital products. And so that's a portion of my business that I'm looking to grow over the next 3 to 4 months. And so as I do things with this store, I'm doing it in mind that I got 3 different businesses that I'm running here. And that's why I can only commit a certain number of hours to the physical e-commerce portion of my business because I spend so many hours providing my logistics services to Amazon and Walmart. Then I have this, and then I have my digital business. And I like it. I know that sometimes it's better to focus in and go all in on one thing. But by being an entrepreneur, one of the things that you deal with is the whole ideal thing. They're always coming up with different ideas and different businesses that you want to do. This is my way of being able to build this into my infrastructure, so I don't have to worry about that. So I got 3 different types of business that allow me to be able to tap into different skills and different gifts that I have, right? So when I'm dealing with my logistics company, I'm using a different skill set than I do with my physical e-commerce store. And what I'm doing with my physical e-commerce store, I'm using a different skill set than I do with my digital portion of my e-commerce business. But at the end of the day, all 3 micro businesses all are part of the same company, Trade Hippo LLC. And eventually, my whole goal eventually, guys, is to phase out of the logistics portion of my business and then take those hours that I'm using there and bring them over to use for my physical business, my e-commerce store, and also for my digital business. And I want that to happen before the end of the summer. So I got to hustle. I got some things planned. So when you guys hear me and you see me putting videos out on YouTube, TikTok, at Facebook. I'm talking about digital one day, my physical e-commerce business the next day. This is the reason why. Because the way I set things up, I have 3 micro businesses inside of my one business, and it allows me to be able to diversify my money, but then also I get to work on 3 different business models inside of e-commerce. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get off this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. God bless.